Hello my brothers and sisters in nerdiness, welcome back to the Spider's Web, and in this video we're continuing with our terrain pieces, these big structures for Necromunda, and we're doing this, as you can see, I'm narrating through it because we're doing a lot of brush painting in these, and I'm not switching the airbrush on for it, so I don't need to worry. So we have model cam and we have palette cam, and as you can see we're using a wet palette. It's just a small 3D printed wet palette, and the first paint that we're going to be using is this one, Dragon Red. Again, Army Painter. It's not one of the freebies, it's one that I've bought, and we'll pop that on up here. There we go. And we're also going to be using Oak Brown. Now I know there's a lot of brown and greys colours in this. We're adding these colours to brighten them up a little bit. This is blocked, so we'll do what we usually do, and we'll pop a pin in the lid. Now let's see if this works. Not really. What's going on? Let's see if that's any better. There we go. Hopefully that will do the job. Okay, so we have the Dragon Red here. Move some of that over, and into that we'll put some of this brown colour. We just want to take the vividness away from the red. Because we don't want it too bright. We're looking at a structure that's been standing out in all weathers. There we go. And we just want like not necessarily a brick red, but a slightly browny red colour. There we go. Oops, that will do nicely. And now what we're going to do is go over these panels. Just these ones. I will be going over later on with something else, not quite sure what yet. I'll probably just rust them up to beggary like I did with the other things. To be honest, I think that might be the best way to go, but we're going to, as I say, just go over and make sure it's just these panels. I'm not doing the inside one. And I'm trying my best not to go into any of the deep recesses where it looks as though it's been dinged. There we are. That's one done. This is going to take some time. Okay, so now we're starting the last one. And as you can see, this is how we're doing it. We're not making. I'm not doing. What's the word I'm looking for? A brilliant paint job on these. I'm just getting colour on them. They're going to be rusted. They're going to be going to look worn by the time I finish. So I'm not going too heavy with it. So that's is what we have there. Is there anything else I could do on these? And you know, one thing I will do using some of the just the dragon red. Not going into anything else. I'm just going to paint these things down here. I don't know what they are, but I'm painting them. They could be just support things, they could be something that does something, I don't know. It could be kind of like a prongs for a Tesla coil or some such. It doesn't matter what it is, they're getting painted this red. It can be anything. All that matters is we just give things a little more colour than leaving them just this drab metallic grey brown colour. Again, not looking to do a brilliant coverage, just as long as the majority of it is coloured in the red. We can come back and cover any mistakes later. Well, not mistakes, any bits that's missed. We can come back and do them a bit later. And any bits that are missed, it will look as though the paint's peeled off or been knocked off, because that's why we've done the metallic underneath. Now this colour looks as though it's been painted over, and possibly not very well, or it's a very old paint job and looking quite what's the word I'm looking for, worn, battered, aged. There we go. That's that. Now we have these cables coming down. Do I want them in specific colours? It's going to be a pain in the neck trying to get to them. Tell you what we'll do. We'll not use any of the red or the brown. We'll use a different colour for those. And again, it doesn't matter what colour we use. Doesn't necessarily mean it's accurate. So we're going to be doing demonic yellow. It's just a colour to break up and lose some of the metallic. That's all these are for, as I said. It could have been a case of these were painted over, or in the case of this, it's cables that they've just covered over to stop anybody touching them with like some tubing or other. And this particular tubing is, I say, getting a little bit damaged, getting worn like everything else. And you know, it's all down to like sandstorms, dust storms, whatever you want to call them. It is Ash Wastes, Necromunda Ash Wastes, that's the name of the game, and I'm presuming the Ash Wastes is like some form of desert. And as such, I'm going to sand. It could be called ash waste because the sand could be black. There is such a thing as black sand after all. And it may just be called ash waste because that's what it looks like from a distance, or when you look at it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's all covered in ash. Now then, I am going to change track on one thing here. And I am bringing in CD palette when I can find it. Here it is. That won't do. And the reason I'm bringing in the CD palette is because the next paint I'm going to be using is metallic, but it's one of the coloured metallics, and this is one of the ones that I was sent from Army Painter, and it's gemstone. And you don't put metallic colours on a wet palette. It's one thing I have learned, because you tend to get the particles, metallic particles, floating around in it and affecting the paint. And this is just a little bit, and it's just going on this part here. There we go. Now I just need to do both sides, and then I will have a look at the top and the bottom to make sure that everywhere that needs to be covered on this is covered. There we go. Try not to put too much pressure on this bit, because we don't want the satellite receiver thing snapping off. I'll just go over the and the, there we go. So that's what I'm doing with that one. And before we go any further, or before we get onto the next model, we have this one that we've just done, and then we have this one. I'm not going to do any colours on this one, mainly because I like it the way it is, to be honest. But again, I am putting the rust effects on it, so we need to get some of the, oh, do not tell me that's all dried up. Okay, bear with me a second, I need to look for a brush. It's down here on the floor, that's why I can't find it. I'm looking on the, for some reason, I don't know why, call it naivety or whatever, but I was actually looking for it on the table where I thought it was, and it turned out it was on the floor. So we don't have much of this left. I'm going to have to get on and try and get some more. I know they do it on Amazon. I'm just hoping that I have enough at least to do this one. Let's just splatter it on where we think it will look okay. It will look okay. There is an area there that I could do with doing some airbrushing on, so I will do that probably before we get round to can't do any more of this, I don't think. I think we've used up about as much of the typhus corrosion as we have. Not happy, thought there was, when I picked it up it was stuck, seemed to be stuck to the tabletop, and it turns out it had leaked. Somehow it had leaked from the top of the actual canister and leaked down the back, so I've lost it because of that. I'm not going to be doing a lot of the rust effects down here because, let's face it, it's in shadow, you're not going to see them, but I am putting this on because it looks more interesting. There we are. So we'll leave that as that, and I'll do as much as I can on here, but I don't think I'll be able to, in fact I don't think I'll be able to do anything on here. It's looking all solid, I can't. So I will nip out tomorrow and see if this is still available from GW. If it is, fine. If not, I'm going to have to order it through Amazon. I know I do have, when I find it, this. I've got some of this. It's Weathering FX, and it's a rust colour by all accounts. So I could probably do a little bit of this, see what it's like. Oh, hang on, this might be a good replacement for Riser Rust. Let me give it a shake. Not Riser Rust, Typhus Corrosion. Let me have a look, see what it's like. Put it in the water. Don't know how it looks. I'm going to do some of this on the underside just to see what it's like. This will be okay for the bits that aren't seen. There we go. I'll just dab some of this on these underside areas. Again, I'm not going too overboard with it. And then we'll see how that looks when it's dried. But as I say, I need to go and get some more Typhus Corrosion, so hopefully I can get some. But yeah, that'll be in the next part of the video, so join me then. Right, we're back. So we've done this sofa. We've got a replacement Typhus Corrosion. The rust thing that I used looks very similar to the Typhus Corrosion, but I'm not sure about the actual texture part of it. But let's get some of this on here, and then we can focus on getting the rust effect on. So what do we need to do? have a look. So we're going in here and we're just dabbing some of it all over. Make sure that what we want to cover in gets covered. And if this stuff is if that other stuff that I used was very much like typhus corrosion, then I don't need to worry about getting more typhus corrosion. But the one I need to worry about is getting the riser rust, because they don't do that anymore in Games Workshop. The riser rust is an old paint, very discontinued. So that's the issue we have with that one. But we'll put that to one side and we'll bring this one in that we thingied up yesterday. Well, the other day, not yesterday. And we'll get some of this typhus corrosion on the brush, and then we can start making it look a little worn and battered. That's the way it's done. I have ordered another thing of this type of this riser rust from Amazon. Can still get hold of it, but it's at an inflated price, over double what you'd have got it for if it was still available from Games Workshop. I'm not sure of any other rust effects that's like this. I like the riser rust, but if anybody knows of anything that's comparable, please let me know, because I'd love to get hold of something. I like being able to just dry brush this on, and with it being a solid paste kind of thing, it just looks good. And that's the kind of thing I'm looking for in a rust effect. I want something that looks like rust. Look at some things here that's oh dear Lord, what am I saying? I'm looking, trying to find areas that are getting a little bit rusty and picking them out. But how we'll work the majority of this out is just a case of making it look slightly done. I'm not going overboard down here because it's in shadow, and the rust effect may not work, or may not look as good with something that's in shadow. So I'm just trying to be as sparing as I can down here, but I still want to have that look of rust, but I don't want it to be in your face, because this part's in shadow for the most part. There we are. I'm just looking to make it look just that little bit brighter. And at the end of this video you're going to see images of these all finished up. There we are. Leave some areas that are free of the rust, leave other areas that have lots of rust on them. Anywhere that has this riser rust, this type of corrosion, just give a little bit at least of the riser rust. But try, as I said, try not to go overboard. Or I'm trying not to go overboard when it comes down to anywhere that's in shadow. Miss this part here. So this part is in shadow, so I'm not, as you say, I'm a bit more gentle. I'm not going overboard, but this leg is going to be a little bit more out in the open. There we are. So that's one of them done. Now let's go back to this one. It's not quite dry yet, so we're going to have to leave that a little bit longer just to give it a chance to settle and dry. But that's basically all we're going to do with this. So once it's done, you will see, or just after this bit, you will see the images of both of these. In fact, I'll put them on the revolving turntable, efforty bob, and you'll be able to see them much clearer and much better. Yeah, so that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. As I said, stay tuned for the final images. But until next time, as always, stay safe and take care. God bless, and bye for now.